My name is Jim Gillis, and I'm with the Hollywood Times, and delighted to be able to talk to both of you today. And hello, Danny, and hello, Andy.
Hey, Jim, thanks for having us.
Yes.
Excited to chat about the film.
Well, sure, yes. And I know the film has been at a couple film festivals already, so that's great. And I think it was well received from the best I can tell, so yay for you. So tell me a little bit about what got you interested in doing this story, the way you laid it out.
Sure. We had the movie, The MATTACHINE Family is about a gay couple, their journey to become parents and what that looks like. And the story was really kind of born out of real conversations that Danny and I had. Been together for a while, been together 14 years, and we got married in 2013. And so I've had lots of discussions over the years about what life looks like for us after we got married. We want kids, we not want kids, a lot of conflict there. And, when we were talking about working together and writing a movie or Danny writing a movie and I helped with the story, it was kind of a natural fit. That was a very interesting aspect, in our relationships of Danny really wanted a child and I was on the other side of that. So that, the movie was kind of born out of those conversations and we.
Well, I understand you do have a child.
We do. We made the movie and then our daughter Florence was born a month later. Which was like a very interesting thing for, I think, both of us, right? Or for me as a director, I went in there and we made a movie about, gay dads. And then when we weren't gay dads, and then a month, after we got done filming, we were suddenly gay dads. And then I had, 9 months of post-production. So I really had like both sides of the coin. Directing, where it was, when I made the movie, there was the desire and the excitement of us becoming parents. We get Florence through surrogacy, so we knew she was coming at a certain date, and then I got to experience the other side of that, where I had the daughter and was up late nights feeding, and then would go into the office the next morning and edit a movie. So,
but let me see, Danny, you wrote all this before that time, correct?
Yeah, probably.
So that didn't change the story significantly. You already had it in mind, right?
Yeah, I think that we rewrote the first draft of it like 5 years ago. So
okay,
in a way that it kind of played out without anticipating how it would end for us.
Okay. Well, you have a very interesting cast in there. What can I say? Do you want to say a little bit about how you found some of these people?
Sure. So, as this is our first film or indie filmmakers, it's always, it was just, we were kind of shocked that, there's such a caliber of cast wanted to participate. We worked with our casting director, Scott Boland, who's cast, The Hobbit, to Flight, massive Hollywood films. And Scott was a producer on our film as well. Helped us find this incredible cast from Nico Tortorella from Younger, Juan Pablo from Fuller House, the hilarious Emily Hampshire from Schitt's Creek, Heather Mazzarato from Welcome to the Dollhouse, and Carl Clemens Hopkins from Hacks. All of these actors, are in demand in Hollywood, and they all were juggling their busy schedules, and they all lent us, between 10 and 20 days, in a year and a half ago to come out and film. They did this because they wanted to participate in the story. They could have been making more money somewhere else, but they felt like it was necessary to tell this story, and they all had like a very much a personal connection to the film. So we are forever grateful, and we really think, when an actor, it's more than just an actor being paid to participate, right? Like they got paid, but it wasn't a lot. So they really wanted to be there. So they really put their all into this film, which I think really shows on screen. And we have some, some fantastic scenes between, Nico and Juan, who really brought Danny's words to life,
Well, they have great chemistry on the screen.
Right.
Say that. And you never know going into a film if that's going to happen. But I mean, they're pretty convincing as being interested in each other.
Which is like always like a fear, I think, as a director, right? Like we did chemistry reads on Zoom, and then we did one rehearsal. We did a table read, and then we did a rehearsal like the day before shooting the film, and then like the next day. And I had like worked with my assistant director, my AD and producer and cinematographer to like build a schedule out. So those first 5 days, we weren't like the first day shooting that sex scene, you know, like we like started slow and you know, did all and kind of did the easier scenes first, and then we got to the more complicated scenes, hoping that, you know, Nico and Juan would connect with one another, and like build their friendship, you know, on set. And it worked out really well for us, and obviously they, you know, have, you know, exceeded my expectations, you know.
So what was your total time you know, shooting the film?
So we shot for in Los Angeles, we shot for 20 days. And we did one pickup day with Nico in New York like 4 months later. So it was a very quick, you know, it was a month, but you know, but it was a very quick shoot for an indie film. Usually indie films are, you know, somewhere between 14 and 20 days. That's kind of like the sweet spot. We were lucky to have the 20 days to do it. You know, but there were some days where, you know, we would go into a house or wherever, and we had, you know, I had 8 pages to get that day. So, you know, I really relied on my crew, you know, who brought everything to this production, all their skills and experience and talent, as well as the actors, to be able to like pull off some of these very complicated scenes. You know?
I'm assuming you're LA based because all those locations in there I know like the back of my hand.
Yeah. We
don't want to see my hand, but including the steps, which are quite interesting. I don't know if most people even know about that, even if they live in the Silver Lake area, they probably don't. But and also your Echo Park scenes and all. So can you tell us and the audience a little bit about why you chose the title, which is, I know what it is, but it might be a little obscure to some folks.
Sure. So the MATTACHINE the title, the MATTACHINE Society, was really one of the first gay rights organizations in Los Angeles in the 1950s. You know, it was a collection of gay men in the 50s who, you know, advocated for gay rights in LA. And there's a set of steps in Silver Lake that were dedicated to that society. And the theme of chosen family plays a really crucial part in our film. You know, as for a lot of LGBTQ plus people, you know, a lot of us have been rejected by families. So we find our chosen family within our friends, you know, within our community. And we liked the idea of, you know, or we kind of found it fascinating that, you know, in the 50s, it was really called a society. You know, this group of gay men had formed the society to advocate for their rights. And, you know, now maybe it wouldn't be a society, maybe it would be more of a chosen family, you know.
Right. Well, and Harry Hayes and all that group, yes. Right. And they were very central to the Echo Park, Silver Lake area at the time.
Right.
I want to ask Daniel a question because I haven't got to hear too much from you yet. Since you're the writer, and a little curious about how you constructed your story. Let me just add one little thing there. The first 5 or so minutes or 10 minutes of the film are extremely fast-paced and almost look like a standalone film of its own. And tell me if that was something you both decided, or you thought that was a great way to give the background to the story, because it leads up to the adoption of this Mexican-American child, and then the separation from him when the mother comes to reclaim the son, and that kind of is the onus of the story, which is all launched at the very beginning of the film.
That was actually an addition. I think the original first draft I wrote was mostly just Thomas packing up the room. It didn't start with the voiceover, that narrated sequence. And that was an addition for Andy. He said, I think rightfully so, starting out the movie with Thomas like packing up a room, it was like a lot of started the movie out on like a very like sad, and it's sad in general, but I think starting it with, you know, the whole story to kind of set up the film gives it more of like a context.
Yes.
In terms of like, I think once I decided that Thomas was a photographer, I think bringing in like pictures and telling the story with him, like reflecting on images and the idea of like, or images, but like a piece of the past that are like there forever, and talking about them as like as a storytelling method, kind of starting with that movie. That was something that Andy, we collaborated on. That it was a really good first.
But I think it helps significantly, and I really enjoyed the pacing of it actually, because if you drag that out, I go, okay, you got to the point right away, and I think that was a great introduction. And to me, it works smoothly. So, yay for that. I know about your previous film because I've seen it, which is kind of related to the title of this one in a way. Do you want to mention something about that?
Sure. You're talking about Letterman.
Yes. It's a fine film, and I do recommend it highly. It was at Outfest previously.
Yes. So that was kind of our first collaboration together, was a short that we did that premiered at Tribeca last year. And that tells the story based on actual love letters sent between two gay World War II soldiers in the UK during World War II. And it was, that whole process was, you know, something that has been with us for a long time. We optioned the rights of those letters, you know, probably 5 years ago to tell that story. And so that short was, you know, as a gay filmmaker, I love history. You know, my grandfather really opened up to me as a child, telling me about all his experiences during World War II. I've always been fascinated with that period of time. So, you know, gay man, World War II, history buff, you know, telling that story was kind of something that it came naturally for me, and I was excited to do it. So, you know, we made that short because a period piece about gay soldiers, it costs a lot of money. So like, you know, we made that short first kind of as a proof of concept, and then our MATTACHINE family, you know, came next. And so we're really hoping we can revisit Gilbert and Gordon's story you know, soon and make that into a bigger film or TV series. So that'll actually be the Letterman, you know, played over 20 film festivals around the world, won numerous awards. We'll be premiering that online in the coming weeks at some point, so that everybody can go and check it out.
Oh, great. Well, make sure I plug in there in the article, because it is a wonderful short film.
Thank you so much.
And since we're still back talking about your current film, can you tell me a little bit about the two main characters and why their relationship is interesting and troubling, so our audience knows what they're in for a little bit?
Well, I think we really wanted to make the conflict between Thomas and Oscar really grounded in reality and have there to be no clear villain or hero, right? Like for Oscar, the fact that he was this child star who had this career that stalled and then now it's picked back up again, I think anyone could look at that and feel like that's a valid reason not to want to pursue parenthood at a specific time. And the hope is that people look at Thomas and think, okay, well, he's had this experience with parenthood and he recognizes that this is something that's profoundly important to him. You know, the conflict between the couple, I mean, it happens to be a gay couple, but I think that anybody who's in a partnership with somebody occasionally arise at a moment where there's just a differing idea of what their relationship looks like in the future. And in most cases, those are both valid. I mean, people arrive at a crossroads sometimes and they want to go different directions. And it's not an easy decision because obviously they still care for one another very much, but it's how do you move forward in a way that you recognize this like partnership that you have, but also that you want something that the other person doesn't want.
And Thomas has a rather supportive group of friends around him that he relies on, which I think is crucial in the film. It provides a great deal of humor, especially a somewhat wild character played by Jake Choi, who is quite fun, and then some other rather oddball characters you managed to weave in there. That provides some great humor and great perspective on the whole idea. And I think that gives a texture to it in terms of how a lot of gay, as you say, chosen families function. You know, you find these other people in your life and you make them central. And I think you've captured that very well. And without talking about how the story ends, that's not appropriate here. We'll let people find out by seeing your film. Any other words you want to add about the film for our potential viewers this weekend?
Just that it's playing at Outfest this weekend, and then also if they follow our Instagram, MATTACHINE Family, we're very excited. We'll be able to start announcing in the next weeks. We're playing in at least 15 other film festivals around the world.
Excellent.
So
And if they for some reason miss it, will be available the week afterward online with the streaming from Outfest. So sometimes people try to do too many films and they can't see them all. So we'll offer them that option. I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but it's been a delight talking to you. We could go on and on, but I will see you at the festival. How's that?
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Thank you so much,
you.
Jim, for chatting and sharing the news about the MATTACHINE Family. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Later then.
All right.